What is going on, guys? After my last couple of sessions, a little bit anticlimactic, couple of fish but no real good footage of them. I'm down again, big lures, looking for big pike. Let's get fishing. Big lures today. River's back down to more or less where it normally sits. The problem with holding a hook further down on the body of these curly tails is that the tail can get wrapped in the hooks quite easily. Bait's getting dragged round to the side. Let's have a look, see if we can sort that. Two reasons for that on this. One is that the jig head isn't sitting square. The other, and this is fairly common, is that your trace isn't running down the bottom of it. Usually you can put a clip in the bottom, hold the lure straight, maybe a belly weight or something as well. But we've got the clarity I like today. It's not super clear, but we can see, you know, a good 3 or 4 feet under the water. So my fishing becomes a case of let your bait sink until it's close to the bottom, if not on it. If you know the area on the bottom is doable. And yeah, we haven't got the flow here today that's dragging the lure off, so we can go with very slow retrieves, which is exactly what you need in the winter months. Slow retrieves, little bumps. I like a waftier retrieve if I can manage it. I do think that if we've got the right conditions, though, pike should be in that kind of whip out mood where they slam your bait from either the depths or kind of holding in undercover. Definitely check the margins. Never know when a pike is holding close. Usually helps when it's sunny. Usually get a lot more of pike hanging out close when the weather is bright, when the warmth is on those shallows, when the pike come in for food, when the other fish are in for food. We've gone for bigger baits today. I'm on a 23 centimetre today. Obviously it's not monstrous, but it's pretty big for a lot of water anyway. This stretch of the Avon's quite big, quite deep, and actually it works well with lures like this, but you've really got to work to find those bigger fish. I know a few spots that do have a tendency to hold some of those bigger fish, and that's what we'll be heading for. Bait swimming a bit more true now, a little less roll on the retrieve, not completely ignoring the depths and some of the runs that we have access to today. I do have a feeling a few of the fish will be in the margins or off the ledge. A little nudgy wafty retrieve is usually enough to entice some of the more lethargic fish, of which pike certainly can be pre-spawn. They will usually eat and hunt a little bit more opportunistic, so it's just encouraging them to think that your bait is the best option. And that's why I prefer bigger baits this time of year. You do tend to see fewer fish, but when you do see a good fish, it is usually a really good fish. But we just keep moving today. We've got the lighter kit in the car as well for fishing for Zander in a bit, but today, right now, we are after some nice pike. Oh, there was a fish. Just missed it, just missed it. I think he probably spooked, but we'll try for him again. Swooped in, he felt something, but good sign. First fish, first tap. I'm only using a single treble on this setup for a big bait. That is not what typically would usually use. Wasn't a huge fish, maybe about 4 pound. Hopefully you saw the attempt on camera. There's one feeding, there's typically more, especially when they're hitting with that level of kind of aggression. That's what you really want. It does mean they're probably heading towards spawn. They will get a break from me, certainly, when they spawn. There are a few venues where the spawn rates tend to differ very slightly. Some of the canals that I've got access to, they spawn the second they get a bit of warm water. Right, little pike, and this just goes to show how small a fish can hit a reasonably big lure. Little guy making life much easier for us. Beautiful conditioned little fish, fat for his size. So not a crazy session so far. We've been here maybe half an hour at absolute max. We've had one hit from maybe a 4 or 5 pound fish, and we just caught one of probably about 2 or 3 pounds. He was probably about 40 centimetre, relatively small fish, but versus a 23 centimetre fish, it kind of goes to show you just how big a lure the fish will hit in the right conditions. That said, we are after the bigger ones. We're after something almost 3 times as big as that one, if we can. Some metre plus fish would be ideal today, and this is the spot to get them. This, I think, is the perch pattern Fox Rage Pro Grub 23 centimetre. It is not a size I usually go for. I usually like the 18 centimetre, and I really do hope that Fox Rage are doing some of these patterns again, because I'm not a huge fan of the UV. They have caught me in the past, but I do find that the natural patterns tend to be a little bit more versatile. So I've gone for a repaired Fox Rage Mega Crawl. I've got the what is it? It's a green and black pattern, but these things get smashed up so quickly. What you end up doing is losing one of its claws quite quickly, one of its tails, if you will. But I have that happen quite frequently with this style of bait, that actually usually have another bait with a missing claw knocking around. So you can usually combine the two and get another bait out of them just with a bit of glue on them. It's not ideal. It does twist in the water now slightly, but it does give a lot more wafty movement. It does drop slower through the water, and it does offer us a slightly different way to fish. We'll switch up to a shad quickly, fan here, and then call it a day with the heavy kit. Go and get the Zander kit and really gear down on them. A couple of Zander to finish off what was a reasonable pike session, but nowhere near as productive as I'd hoped. Oh, that is a fish. We've got a nice pike. Well guys, that's a much better fish. Really nice condition. Still not spawning. Definite proof of that now. He is probably about 4 or 5 pounds, reasonably short, maybe 65 centimeters long. Let's get him back. Well guys, it took a bit of effort to get those two, but I fancy a bit of Zander fishing now, so I'm switching over. Let's get fishing. Get out of the area where I was fishing for that pike. I think Zander can be put off when you're in an area that there's pike, so I think moving along is probably in my best interest. Not saying we have to go far, and to be honest, the casting out should be a good place to try, but I'd expect to have come across one closer in if we do find one. Oh, have we still got him? Yes, we have. That drag, very light on this. Feels like a Zander. Oh, he's giving me some slack. Nice little Zander. Beautiful. Well guys, little Zander, but it's a fish. We're gonna see if we can get some more of these before we perhaps try for the perch. Can't say for sure if that was a fish or not. It certainly felt like one. I've had to put this lure basically on upside down because I've used it so much that it's a bit destroyed. You can't really hook it on. the correct way anymore. But you know, don't let that discourage you. Yes, some lures are very much only a they'll only work when they're hooked really, really well. But then others, like these, when all I'm trying to do is jig on the bottom, actually, so long as you've got that tail movement, so long as you've got the drag from the ribbing on them, you're going to be fine. Fish? Yeah, it is. Wasn't expecting that then. Switching down was definitely the right call. Feels like a good fish as well. Zander, not a monster. And in. Well guys, changing up to Zander, I'm beginning to think was a good call. It's a nice little Zander, biggest one yet. I downsized the bait. I've had to set up a couple of times on a much lighter jig head now, and I'm going to see if I can catch a couple more. Well, thanks for watching guys. May not have been exactly what was planned, but a couple of pike, a couple of Zander, decent session. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.